We are helping you save money in the Trail Appliances kitchen this morning by saving your produce from spoiling early. We have home economist Jodie Kachkar here with us. Good morning, Jodie.
Good morning.
Loved your tips on the fruit and mason jars last time. Let's talk about how big of an impact can storage habits have on waste.
Oh, huge. So 40% of food waste happens at your kitchen, and a great deal of that is produce, which kind of makes sense, right? It's the stuff that we buy fresh, and it can go quickly, and sometimes it's hard to tell what our families will like or not like depending on the week. So it's important to store your produce so that we can keep it for as long as possible.
And so how do we do that?
So there's a couple of tips and tricks I would have. So greens especially, they definitely will last longer in a container that's got a rack in it, so that any excess liquid can go to the bottom. So I use these both in my own home, and we have a lot of success in keeping greens for sometimes almost 2 weeks.
What a nifty gadget.
Yeah.
I think we could just show it in this particular container here.
Absolutely.
We can take like the little gadget out like this.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
So a lot of the products are coming with it, this in it, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
so look for something like that. I've gotten these from a variety of locations, so definitely look for something like that so that you've got a rack in the bottom in order to store your greens especially longer. Berries are another thing that are important to store correctly. They are very expensive right now,
Yes.
so if you're putting your money into berries, we want to make sure that they last as long as possible. I would not wash them until you are ready to eat them. So don't wash them in advance. And again, I would store them out of their container that they came in something like this that's got a rack or a grate in it so that any extra liquid can go to the bottom. When you wash berries, sometimes it's hard to get them dry, and then they can get mushy over time if they just sit in that liquid.
Okay. Sometimes we have produce that's maybe a touch past its prime, and you're thinking, maybe I could get away with it. What do you do with those?
Well, it depends. Sometimes a smoothie is always a good choice with produce, even like greens, because they don't have a lot of taste and you can hide them in. So when you buy avocados, often it's like all of a sudden they're all ready to eat, and you maybe don't have a plan for that. So what you can do is take something like an avocado, berries, bananas, and you can cut them into chunks and freeze them out on a cookie sheet, and then they're just like ready to put into your next smoothie or fruit bowl, and they are ready to use.
And how long does it last in the freezer? Because there is such thing as freezer burn as well.
Absolutely. I would say keep an eye on it, but I would say you probably will gain yourself a month to 3 months.
Okay.
And definitely, near the front in a clear plastic bag, or in a section that you're like, oh, smoothies for today. And that's a great choice to use up produce, for sure.
We were just talking about this, but does it change the taste or the texture at all when you freeze fruits?
When you freeze fruits, you're definitely going to get a texture change.
Okay.
So they will get mushy, and that has to do with the way the water crystals form and change the cell walls of the produce. So frozen, nice and hard. Once I thaw this, going to be quite soft. So that's why a smoothie or
Yes.
a dip is a better choice. If you expect it to be able to eat it just as is, you might not enjoy that quite as much.
Awesome. These are really nifty gadgets, and I wanted to ask, are these quite popular in stores? Where can we get these from?
I had no problem buying them. They are available at probably any grocery store that sells plastic type items. I got some of these at Superstore, Canadian Tire. You were suggesting HomeSense. I would just keep your eye out. We're all interested in storing things for a good amount of time in a container that is stackable or fits better into your fridge or freezer. So I would just check around, but I know there's lots out there.
And we love everything that's budget friendly. Jodie, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We'll be sharing more tips to save money at home with Jodie next month, and you can feel free to send us along any questions at all for Jodie. Text us at 10400.